What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's daily rap video after just a half day of streaming for our boy Phil. And even though we had half of the content, we still had a lot of cope and salt. If you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I posted a video yesterday after Phil's playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 where our boy seethed and coped for over 25 minutes over apparently the developers putting in a trap for our boy Phil where all of his items, all of his good items for a specific character were lost. That's right. The game now is a Baldur's Gate 3 now is a full-on detractor to our boy Phil. And that video was just chef kiss. If you haven't had a chance, definitely go check it out. It's some funny ass shit. It is some funny ass stuff. Definitely check it out. So, of course, our boy Phil is going to continue with the salt and cope on the daily rap. So let's hear what he had to say.
Only a half streaming day for me because tonight I had to film private Patreon videos, and I also had to finish up with some of my behind-the-scenes business stuff for this month. The good news is, this should be, fingers crossed, and if everything goes according to plan, the last time that I need to take a stream off this month, because I know I'm already trying to finish multiple RPGs. We've got a new game coming out Friday. We got more new games coming out that people might want to see by the end of the month. And so you want me here as much as possible, right? I hear you. So, let's talk about how today went, because honestly, today went a little weird with the gameplay. We'll talk about that. And let's just get you all caught up. All right, so today, on the Level 1 podcast, we talked about various topics, including I've decided what game it will be that I'm playing on Friday between Dragon's Dogma 2 and Rise of the Ronin. I also talked about some game news, including an update on the PSVR 2 selling actually quite poorly. No surprise there from what I assumed was going to happen, but, you know, just to me. And also, an interesting update on the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Apparently, they have stolen content without permission and put it into the retail product. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the podcast from this morning, okay? But the meat of what I did today was playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, Phil, none of it really sounds that interesting. If you want to find out what Phil was doing on his day, you can check out my content. I have a few videos out there. It's pretty much the same old Phil, coping and seething over suggestion boxes and people making the declaration that he begs too much. And also the decision to play to not play Rise of the Ronin and instead play yet another RPG. And that's right, Phil's big brain logic here is combat RPG burnout with more RPGs. That's right. I honestly, I've never played the Dogma series. I've never played the first one or second one. I hear it's a good game, but typically the second one is not as good as the first one. But I think he's making a big mistake. I think he should play Rise of the Ronin, for the simple fact that I remember when he played Ghost of Tsushima, he got some pretty good support for it initially. The first couple of streams did well, the attendance did well, and he made some money on it. And samurai style content usually does pretty good. It's good. You could do different missions. It's open world. And from what I gather, it looks like it has some very cool game mechanics. I'm going to be playing that. I'm actually going to be purchasing it and playing it over the weekend. And I think it's going to be a really good game. But of course, Phil, like an idiot, instead of doing real research, he relied on his chat to make the decision, not understanding or believing that most of his chat are LARPers and detractors, and they want him to fail. So of course, they're going to always feed him bad information. And I guess after 15 years of being a content creator, our boy Phil still doesn't understand that. But it really doesn't matter. Typically, whatever Phil decides to do, it's always the wrong choice for this, for the simple fact that he decided to play, he decided to play the Bethesda RPG, Starfield, over Baldur's Gate 3, and look how that turned out for him. Look at that. Look at how that turned out. The only reason why he played Baldur's Gate 3 was because his business was floundering. He had no support for like 4 or 5 months straight. And the Dents finally convinced him that if he plays it, they're going to support it. And again, it's been his only successful playthrough in several years. Nothing has even come remotely close to Baldur's Gate 3. And if it wasn't for Baldur's Gate 3, our boy Phil would have probably had to pack it all up and go back and live with his mother. So essentially, that's what you need to know about Phil's day in his podcast. So let's now move on to the Cope segment where our boy Phil loses it about Baldur's Gate being a detractor.
Because I didn't have the late stream. And today, There was great progress. We were in Cazador's mansion already. We explored the mansion. We went to his underground lair. We fought the Cazador boss fight, which was very interesting and unique. Much like a lot of these endgame boss fights, they're kind of unique. And I did pretty darn good. Problem was, after the fight ended, the game presented yourself with a critical choice. Either go along with what seems to be a pretty evil decision because one of your party members wants you to do it, or tell them, no, I'm not going along with that, and then that party member leaves your party. I'm not going to spoil for those who never played the game and maybe haven't seen the videos yet, but basically, I wanted to do the right thing based on morality choices and things that I'd done in the playthrough so far, so I said I'm not going to do that bad thing, and the party member got very upset and left. And apparently, from what I'm to understand, that's the end of their story. If you had allowed them to do the thing that seemed pretty horrible, then they would have stayed around for the rest of the game. But what would have been the outcome of that, I don't know. You know, I was going with my gut and going with my morality compass, and it just didn't seem like the right thing to do. So this party member leaves the party, and I get a bag of inventory, which is all the stuff that was in their inventory. I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do next? I said, well, one of the missions we actually have is to go rescue someone who apparently is being fooled by these doppelganger characters. So we bring the person, Jahara, who's been impersonated by doppelgangers, to the person, and the person is so dumb, he doesn't realize. He's like, huh? He doesn't realize that he's been duped. So we do this whole fight, we save the guy or whatever, and we recruit him, right? This is cool. So now, in the one stream, we finished the Cazador plotline, and we've recruited a whole new party member for the end game. I'm like, well, maybe we'll use them. Why not, right? And someone even told me he's actually meant to kind of be a certain class that's similar to the class of the person who left, so you should be able to reclass him as that person. So we did the whole final, like, half an hour of the stream. We reclassed this character, rebuilt him from scratch with all 12 levels into what would have been equivalent to the person who had left. Okay, let me put the equipment on him. So I opened up the bag of the equipment that was given to me from the person who left the party, and I'm looking for these items. I'm like, so I know that I have an item that's going to cause acid damage on hit. I know that I have an item that's going to make me, like, proficient with a certain kind of thing. I know I have this, I know I have that. I know that I have two dual-wielding weapons that are really powerful and have an elemental status. I'm looking, they're not there. What? I have a bag of, like, over 100 items. But the items I'm looking for, the best items, aren't in the bag. And I said, what? Like, what's going on here? And everyone in chat was confused, just as confused as me. And most people who are watching me play this game have played it themselves, okay? So we're in a situation where no one can explain what's going on. So we spent a good 10 minutes trying to figure this out. We went to the Traveler's Chest in camp. Items aren't in there. All right, we're going crazy. And then finally we come to the end of the stream, and someone says, I looked it up. Guess what? In Baldur's Gate 3, if someone leaves your party forcibly, meaning not that you dismiss them or tell them to leave, but if you basically cut ties with someone because they're upset with you, okay, then you will get all their inventory in a bag presented to you so you don't lose key items and things, except what they have equipped. What? The game devs went out of their way to code a bag where you'll get all the items of the character that's leaving, but they didn't think, oh, what about the equipment they have on them now when they're leaving? So, of course, you're going to have the absolute best items for the character on them. Why wouldn't you? And then they just take them. The worst part about this is the items that were on that character were unique items. These are not items that I can go buy again or you know, refabricate. They're unique items that made that character super good. That's why I used them the entire game up to this point. And now I've lost all of them. So I'm over 120 hours into this game. I worked my ass off with this playthrough. And the game says, oh, by the way, once again, you're just supposed to know, with no way to ever know this ahead of time, that if someone leaves your party and on bad terms, you lose all the stuff that they have equipped. I'm just supposed to magically know that, right? You want to know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to summarize it for you. It's called bad game design, right? Baldur's Gate 3 is a fine game. But the more I've played it, the more and more kinks in the armor I found, the more and more cracks in the facade. The game ain't perfect, man. You know, it's got a lot of problems. This is probably the worst problem I've encountered in it. This game should not cheat you out of items that you earned during your playthrough because of a dialogue choice or a story choice. You're doing the right thing. You're feeling you're making the right choice. You don't know the character's going to leave. And then they just decide to leave and take the best items with them. No, unacceptable. I will never forgive Larian for that. That is terrible game design. Now, it's not the end of the playthrough. It's not, you know, I'll talk more about this in depth tomorrow on the podcast because as you notice, this is the abridged version. I'm not even mentioning the character's name to avoid spoilers for those who haven't seen the video yet. But tomorrow, I'll go more in depth into this on the podcast, okay? But this is a reason why I've been telling you guys, this game is not accessible. I keep saying this and people argue with me. Yes, it is. It's not accessible. If it were accessible, the game would say to you, oh, your character's about to leave your party or whatever with this choice. Are you sure you want to do that because you're going to lose items? It wouldn't just steal from you. This is literally robbery. Because think of it this way. You have a group of people who are working together. Well, one person says, well, I'm going to leave now and go on my own way. Okay, give me all your shit. Because that's something our group earned. It's our property, not yours. You don't get to just run off and take it. But no, the game just says they just keep everything they have equipped. Bullshit. Terrible game design. I'm not going to forgive them for that, nor am I going to give excuses. That's awful. Really bad game design. Definitely shouldn't be like that. That's pathetic. Other RPGs, characters go in and out of your party all the time. You can either still access their inventory, or you get all their inventory in yours. You don't get a bag of everything they didn't have equipped, but they keep the equipped items. That's bullshit. So I am pretty heated about it, but the thing is, I don't think it's going to really hinder the playthrough. We're at the end of the game, and no matter who I put in as the replacement, I don't know if I'm going to go with this new character now because I don't have the equipment to make them good. I might use someone else. I don't know. But it just sucks that all that effort, all that time put into this character and their build and their equipment, and I lose it, and basically it's a lost cause now trying to use a character like that again. It's incredibly stupid. So anyway, you can watch the videos now. They're already live on the channel. Enjoy them, okay? The private react tonight.
Okay, yeah, the abridged version, which took almost 7 minutes. 7 minutes of more cope after 20 minutes of coping earlier. So, first of all, before I move on, I have this piece of advice from a wise sage that once said this.
Consequences have actions, pimp.
That's right, consequences have actions, pimp. So, Phil, okay, all right. So, you say it's not accessible. There's no way for you would have known that, that Baldur's Gate was coded where that if a person leaves, if they leave your whatchamacallit, you'll get a bag of everything except for what they have equipped, right? You didn't know that. Then how did you exactly find that out? You actually did a little bit of research and you found it out, Phil. So that's the accessibility there. Just because you don't want to put in the extra time and effort to research a game, that's not developers' fucking fault. That's your fault. And the other thing too is that don't you bitch and complain about Final Fantasy, Zelda, all of those playthroughs, all of those RPGs as being samey. Don't you bitch and complain that they're all the same and there's this formula that developers follow and it's cookie cutter and it's boring. Don't you fucking say that, Phil? And now you have a game like Baldur's Gate that decided, hey, let's do something different. Let's add this little tweak into the game where, yeah, if you make a decision that pisses someone off on your team and they decide to leave and bounce, if you don't unequip their fucking equipment, you're going to be screwed. You're going to fucking lose it. To me, that's very interesting. And that's a nice little twist on an RPG game, Phil. But not you. Just because you lost some fucking items, you're going to rant and rave like a fucking child? Why? Because the game made it a little harder for you to beat it? Is that the problem, Phil? Not every game can be a walking simulator. Not every game can be fucking Skyrim, Phil. Okay? You should be applauding these developers for thinking outside of the box and doing something a little bit different. Not fucking bitching and complaining and talk about you'll never forgive these developers. They don't give a two fucking shits who the fuck you are, Phil. They didn't make this game for you, okay, you fucking idiot. Developers don't make games for you, you fucking narcissistic fucking dickhead. That's what you are, Phil. That's what you are, because you're a lazy fucking content creator, and because you just stream for money and you want to fucking blow by games easy as possible. That doesn't give you the right to bitch and complain when a game decide to do a design choice, because that's what it is. The producers actually decided to make a design choice, and to me, I applaud them for doing something fucking different and making it slightly difficult and not making it just a fucking cakewalk, Phil. Okay? But again, you're not playing this game because you enjoy it. You're playing this game because it makes you money. You would have fucking wage quit this game months ago if you weren't getting the support. If you weren't getting those 3 fucking dents that come out every playthrough and drop 50 and 60 bucks on this playthrough. Because if you notice, so you look at the support, the last fucking, 2 months have been 100 bucks. You barely cracked the tier 2 tip goal. And it's usually because one of those fucking Baldur's Gate 3 whales come out and drop cash. It's the only fucking reason why you're playing it. So I understand that you're pissed off because they made it slightly harder and it was something you weren't expecting yet again because your dumbass didn't do any research. A good craftsman works at their craft. When they're not working, they try to improve their fucking skills. So when you're not streaming and playing games, Phil, what you should do is you just take some time out of your fucking day. Sometime in between you eating and playing WW Champions and sitting on Twitter till, 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, you should decide and say, hey, let me take 20 minutes to read an article or look at a video of something of what's upcoming in the game that I could be prepared for and be aware of. Because if you fucking Google that, that's actually, there's tons of videos on it where people talk about this happening, where they lose their specific items if you make certain choices. So you would have been aware of it. But then your dumbass will bitch and complain and say, no, well, I want to do an honest playthrough and I want to be surprised. Well, there you fucking go, Phil, a surprise. And instead of bitching and moaning for 20 minutes about it and then 7 minutes on this daily wrap, you should applaud them and say, hey, I didn't expect that. That was a very cool design choice. It's different than other RPGs. Instead of sitting here salty and fucking coping like a fucking baby. But again, you need to take this advice from our old sage wise friend Wings of Redemption.
Consequences have actions, pimp.
That's right, folks. Anyway, that's the video, folks. If you get a minute, check out that 20-minute video. You can put it on 1.5 speed. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.